when you talk of influences, we think of religion, politics, tradition, perhaps education, among others. But with the word influence, I'm referring to a force that has an impact on not only our behavior, but to how we think, feel, our desires, ambitions, and perceptions. When I step out of my body and look at my current self and my history, I see that Bollywood, which is the Hindi film industry in India, has played a powerful role in shaping the person I am today. I am Altaf, or Alfie, a management consultant, a part-time dance instructor, and a full-time lover of Bollywood. I'm honored to be here and talk to you about my long-term, long-lasting relationship with this mammoth of an industry. So, one of my earliest Bollywood memories is driving to Dubai from Abu Dhabi every weekend with my parents. You know, I would be in the back seat and in charge of the Bollywood playlist, which was a bag of cassette tapes, you know. And my dad would sing along loudly, tapping his hands on the steering wheel, and at times turn to my mother and sing to her. And my mother would just giggle bashfully. And one of the songs he would always love humming to was the Raj Kapoor classic.
हुआ इकरार हुआ है प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल प्यार हुआ इकरार हुआ है प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल.
Interestingly, my father got slapped for the very first time by his father when he was caught sneaking back after watching Mughal-e-Azam, which was a magnum opus of that era. Apparently took 14 to 16 years to make, but 44 years later, my dad and I had the opportunity of watching it together when the colored version released. And he was ecstatic, excited, just like a child. So to make sense of my, again, the relationship with Bollywood, I believe it's important to know a little bit more about me. I was raised as a single child by a North Indian Muslim father and a Sri Lankan Buddhist mother in the United Arab Emirates. They were not the new age parents who believed and let believe. They were very stringent in their own faiths, almost in competition to see who would swivel me to their side. Right? And my mom could only speak Sinhala, which is the truth. And my father couldn't speak or understand it. Yet they lived together for 19 long years. And they didn't share a common language, but they shared an enthusiasm for Bollywood. Movie nights at the theater or at home, where we'd rent a VHS tape, was our favorite family activity. My mom didn't know the language, yet still managed to understand everything that was happening. And back then, there were no subtitles. I really don't know how you did it, Mom. She would laugh, cry, tense up at the right moments, and she would always proudly exclaim that no one dances better than the Bollywood heroines. And I think the dances were probably her favorite part as well. And not understanding language is all right for watching movies as a family, but it didn't help in sustaining a marriage. As I grew older, I could notice the growing friction between my parents. Perhaps it was not the language issue, but various other issues that just intensified when you couldn't communicate easily. Fights happen often. And being raised as an only child, I did not have anyone I would share or went out to, and I didn't talk to my friends either. I don't know why. And instead, I started immersing myself into movies. My mother played a very important role, and I'm very grateful for her. Even when we did not have enough cash at home, she would somehow put together enough money for me to go buy myself a movie ticket. And yes, when situations at home would intensify, little Altaf would just find solace by himself in a movie theater. I should go alone most of the time.
तेरे माथे झूमर दमके तेरे कानों वाली चमके है रे तेरे हाथों कंगना खनके तेरे पैरों पायल छनके है रे नैनों से बोले रब्बा रब्बा मन में डोले रब्बा रब्बा अमृत घोले रब्बा रब्बा तू सोनिए Sorry, the Acha Mahi Everybody sing sorry, the Acha Mahi
Bollywood thrived on escapism, and I did escape into it. You know, the 3 hours I would be inside the theater, I was just lost in that world. Back then, I wasn't the critic I am today. I enjoyed everything I watched. And very often, I would come home and narrate the entire story from the beginning to end to a friend or who would care to listen. I took it a step further. In a bus, in a classroom, or simply while walking, I would imagine my surroundings suddenly break into song and dance. And in my head, I would join and revel in it.
मैं डालूं ताल पे भंगड़ा तू भी गिद्दा पाले चले सा रंग जमा दे हमके बने सभी मत वाले
मन कहे कि मैं ले आऊं चांद और तारे सारे इन हाथों पर मैं चांद रखूं इस मांग में भर दूं तारे
हेलो हेलो तू फ्लोर पे जब है आई येलो येलो बड़ी सॉलिड मस्ती छाई
हेलो हेलो तू मुझे घूमने लगाई येलो येलो कंट्रोल करो मेरे भाई धक 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 धड़के ये दिल छन छन बोले अमृतसरी चूड़ियां रात बड़ी है मस्तानी तो दिल भर जानी कर ले गल्ला घूड़ियां
Well, you can clap, it's all right. I mean, don't restrain. It makes me feel better. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I'm breathing while talking. Apologies. I mean, I need to breathe, otherwise I'll die, but yeah, breathing heavily. So, the movies I consumed, the characters I admired, altered the way I perceive life. It became a place where things eventually fell into place. As long as you keep a positive attitude, positive outlook, and never give up. Life started throwing curveballs at me. I had to run away from home when I was 19. Father lost all his wealth. One phase I had no ambition to study because I couldn't afford it. And there were times I couldn't even buy myself a meal. But when I look back at those days, there's a soundtrack playing in the background. And it's not a sad one. I promise you, it's not a sad one. It's an inspiring one, or even a happy one. As I said, things fell into place. And just like my favorite heroes on film, I played the character of this lone hero in my head, making his way through life with little to himself, but so much to offer.
मेरे होठों से धुआंधार निकलती है जो बोली जैसे जैसे बंदूक की गोली मेरे तेवर में है तहजीब की रंगीन रंगोली जैसे जैसे हो ईद में होली मेरे होठों से धुआंधार निकलती है जो बोली जैसे जैसे बंदूक की गोली मेरे तेवर में है तहजीब की रंगीन रंगोली जैसे जैसे हो ईद में होली मेरी जीवन की दशा थोड़ा रस्तों का नशा थोड़ी मंजिल की प्यास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है कसम से बाकी सब फर्स्ट क्लास है
It may not sound like it, but life was first class, regardless of what happened. My journey from UAE took me to Sri Lanka, Malaysia, South Africa, and India. There's a lot of hurdles. It's not an easy journey. But hey, life was never meant to be easy. Who said it was going to be easy? The mindset I kept led me to many beautiful souls that helped in putting things into place. Being on my own resulted in my friends being my family. I'm not exaggerating. I really viewed them as such. Be it support on love, taking care of me, feeding me, housing me, or even paying for my final year of my undergrad degree. Throughout all that, I never felt less about myself. Because hey, that's what friends do. And guess where I learned that from? Starts with a B. And I was there for them too, in my own way, of course.
झटका जरा सा महसूस हुआ एक लाइफ की गाड़ी ने कस के मारा ब्रेक यही उम्र है कर ले गलती से मिस्टेक 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 बेटा चल मसल फुलाना थोड़ी बॉडी बनाना तेरे चिकने गालों के सबल की फसल उगाना अरे रे रे अबे चल बेटा शुरू हो जा गुरु बगल उठा के थोड़ा डियो लगाना किसी बगल वाली को मर्दानी खुशबू सुंघाना चल ऊपर के दो बटन ढीले करके बताना बालों वाला सीना दिखाना बालों वाला सीना दिखाना यही उम्र है कर ले गलती से मिस्टेक 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 बेटा
The idea of friendship inspired by Bollywood made me kind of believe that with the right set of people, anything is possible. Like, for example, one of the most Bollywoody real life experience I had was when a good friend and I set off to India to find his father, who he hadn't seen for 21 years. And this is special because this was before Google Maps, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. And all we had was a letter written 21 years ago and a baby picture of my friend in his father's arms. And I had only 9,000 rupees. He had 12,000 rupees. And we spent 2 weeks in India. Guess what? We found the father. You know? And that story itself is one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Made me believe in Bollywood or in the media, I mean, in film even more, right? And it'll require another stage production to explain about that. But moving on, apart from friendship, Bollywood also shaped the idea of romance. I'm not going to argue if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Just simply focus on my story. Just like many protagonists, even in my own movie, love came very unexpectedly. I met her for the very first time at work. And I heard violins and a little bit of humming. Where is it? There you go. I heard that. Oh yes, of course, she did not hear anything. In fact, she had no idea that I had found love. But in my imaginative head, in my mind, something like this ensued.
Following my every move, doesn't matter what I do. Got me coming back on you. Baby, now I'm falling for you.
first day of meeting. On the second day, we were in touch from different cities using our phones. And I promised this happened. On the third day, I asked her to marry me on the phone. What was I thinking? I don't know. I mean, what are all these characters thinking when they're in their romantic slow motions or staring into each other into thin air? I don't know. God knows. Obviously, she said no. But on the fourth day, she said yes. I don't think either of us thought too much into it. It just felt right, just like in the movies. Of course, there was resistance. Okay, not that dramatic. Nevertheless, being the strong heroine she is, Murray, that's the DJ by the way, Murray Mariam, fought back. Although I had already danced probably 100 songs, choreographed songs in my head with Mariam, I wanted to recreate a part of it in the real world. And who else to turn to but my friends, who at that time hardly listened to any Bollywood music or watched any movies or hardly danced. Yet they helped me with my very Bollywood 11-minute wedding proposal. Because I asked her to marry me on SMS, so I wanted to make it special. So, and yeah, there were no fireworks, no fancy hotel. We didn't even have proper speakers, but it was magical. We managed to fool Murray into thinking she was coming to someone else's wedding because we wanted her to dress up, otherwise she'd get really upset. And boy, she was surprised. What I'm getting at is, it doesn't take much to create magic in life, right? And with the right intention and the right people, things fall into place. And I thank everyone who made that possible. And 3 months later, what happened? Shadi happened. The wedding happened. Just like my mother, even I developed a strong affinity for Bollywood music and Bollywood dance. Its energy had the ability to put me in a good mood, and I'm sure anyone else in a good mood as well. There's a phenomenon popularly referred to as the Nighting number. It existed from the 50s, even till today. There are songs placed in a film that may not necessarily have any relevance to the plot or story. They're usually upbeat, catchy, danceable tracks. They are a way of marketing movies, and there are people who find it problematic, whereas others find it liberating and empowering. I'm not here to debate or argue on either. But just like in the movies, here is an item number that has no relevance to my story, inserted just for fun. Before I started, Murray told me to wear a vest, otherwise my sweat will be seen. I'm really sorry, Murray, just don't scold me later. So, at any event, once the DJ plays, you'll notice, at any event or a club, when a popular song is played, you see people dancing, and suddenly you'll notice that at a certain point of the song, you see people dance to it in a very similar fashion. That, my friends, is popularly referred to as the hook step. Usually it's a simple sequence that is repeated in a chorus. Hook steps took a whole new relevance thanks to TikTok today. And honestly, that is my favorite part of any song or any Bollywood song. I think they have hook steps in all sorts of songs. And 2022 had its share of viral hook steps. You might recognize a few, and here are a few. applaud. Don't stop applauding. It's fine. You don't have to be that nice. Applause can interrupt me anytime. Okay, so two of the songs in the medley were not from Bollywood, but I couldn't help incorporating it because I love them so much. Anyways, so if by now, if you haven't figured it out, Bollywood has had a major influence in my life. It has helped me cope with a lot of things and given me a lot of joy. And I wanted to share it with as many people as possible. Thus, Nach Colombo was born. For people who don't know, Nach means simply to dance. And I don't see it as a dance class, honestly. For me, it's an opportunity to be different characters, experience different situations while dancing your heart out. It's a short break, or escape from our busy lives, or whatever that's outside. Honestly, once you have to be in character and focus on the steps, you can't think of anything else. So in a nutshell, it's an opportunity to be in the moment, which a lot of us need to practice every now and then. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to my story. And I hope that you find your Bollywood, whatever it is, and cherish it. A big thank you to the organizers for this opportunity and to everyone who helped in putting this act together. You know who you are. Wink, wink. Yeah. And finally, the wonderful dancers who stepped into my life after stepping into Nach. Except for this one. He was there for the proposal I mentioned, and I did not even know who he was. I was looking for people, and then my friend was like, hey, my cousin knows how to dance, and then he came in, and then he never left my life after that, which I'm very grateful for. So as I said, things fall into place. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope as you wade through life, you consciously, keyword, consciously, create many magical moments, consciously connect with wonderful people, and not lose any opportunity to just natch. 5, 6, 7, 8.
बलम पिचकारी जो तूने मुझे मारी तो बोले रे जमाना खराबी हो
Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Let's go. तेरी अखियों का वार जैसे शेर का शिकार, तेरा हुस्न धुएंधार जैसे जल का सिगार। तेरी अखियों का वार जैसे शेर का शिकार, तेरा हुस्न धुएंधार जैसे जल का सिगार। But Papu can't dance now. Gangnam Style. I'm sexy and I know it. Check it out. Gangnam Style.
నల్లగుంటే ఒకడు అల్లారల్లరి చేస్తాడు. తెలుపు నలుపు కాదు నీతో పని ఏముంది, అందు దొరికిందంటే చాలు ఈ మగ బుద్ధి వంకర బుద్ధి. అంటావా అమ్మవా అంటావా అమ్మవా, అంటావా అమ్మవా అంటావా అమ్మవా.
Open Gangnam Style.
Okay, you saw me dancing with all my energy for the past probably 25 to 30 minutes. So I request all of you to please look. So what we're going to do is 5, 6, 7, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, point. Nose, cut, bring, string hoppers, pregnant. So we're going to try it once with music, and then we're going to perform the song. Please, some more volunteers, you guys can join in. chorus. Come on. Don't be shy, it's a budget match. Okay, Marty, can you just play the chorus bit? Just the chorus bit, okay? And everybody at the dance here, please join in wherever you are. Just march.